So, makeup isn't your thing, but you still want to look pulled together. I got you. Now, personally, clearly, I do makeup, but you do you, and I'ma do me. But today, we are talking about small tweaks. Okay, maybe some medium tweaks. There's a bit of a spectrum here in this video. That you can do to make your skin look 100 times better, even if you have dark spots or acne. And obviously, this is in addition to your regular skincare routine, your facials, your visits with a Skin of Color Pro, etc. Because being consistent with your skincare routine is obviously gonna get you closer to your skin goals and help you feel more confident. My skin looked like this, and this once upon a time. However, custom prescription skincare and the guidance of the Skin of Color Pro was probably one of the best things that I've done for my skin. And I've done a lot of really great things for my skin over the years. Custom prescription skincare helped to fade the discoloration underneath my eyes and helps to keep my skin looking snatched thanks to tretinoin. Which is why I love Agency, because you can get custom prescription skincare under the guidance of licensed dermatology providers without having to leave your house. And shout out to Agency for sponsoring this portion of this video. I have had my subscription with Agency for the last 2 years. Right now I'm at 0.07 tretinoin. However, we done moved on up because I started at 0.035 and then I went to 0.05 and now we are at 0.07%. My future formula is keeping my skin as snatched as possible for as long as possible, which helps me to keep a little pep in my step when I go makeup free. They also have a custom prescription dark spot formula for those older stubborn dark spots, the ones you've had like 4 months or more and they just don't want to go away. And you kind of think of charging them rent because it's like, dang, why won't y'all leave? A lot of you have already told me that you started using Agency and you're seeing results and you're loving it. And the pricing is along the lines of what you would pay for a treatment product at a specialty store, except with Agency, you're getting access to prescription actives like tretinoin and hydroquinone, or actives that you can only get at a certain percentage with a prescription, and you don't have to leave your house. These are actives that have long receipts of proving their effectiveness for the skin. Scan this QR code or check out the link in my description box for information on how you can get a special offer on your first box. And now let's talk brows. Now, you might not realize how important brows are to your face until you see the pictures of celebs without brows. Some of us are blessed with thicker brows, some of us aren't, and then some of us are of a certain age where the brow hairs are just like, I'm gonna see my way out. So having your brows done frames your face, makes you look more polished and put together, and can even make your skin look better. Now let's talk about a few things you can do to get better brows, which, by the way, none of these are permanent, so, it's just to kind of help you out, but let's talk about them. So brow laminating, colloquially known as brow perm. This is a chemical treatment that temporarily straightens the brow hairs, making them look more uniform and groomed. Now, it's not uncommon to also get your brows tinted as part of this service, and it lasts anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, depending on your skin. If you have oily skin, sometimes, the oils from your skin might decrease the time that you have your service. Now let's talk about pricing. So the average cost in the US is anywhere from $75 to $100 per session. Now obviously, prices are gonna vary by who you go to, where you live, because if you live in a city like New York City or a lot of other major cities, you can expect to pay a little bit more than that, where ChatGPT told me that the average in New York City is anywhere from $100 to $175 plus, with some places, bundling things together like your tinting and the lamination and all of that put together. Next up, micro shading, which is also known as ombre brows or powder brows. So this is a semi-permanent, which again, not permanent, just lasts a little longer. It's a technique that creates a soft, powdered, makeup-like effect, kind of like, filling in your brows with powder or a pencil. And it's done by using a handheld tool that deposits the pigments right in your brows. And by the way, this goes without saying, before you do any of these things, you gonna what? Fully research who you go to, because can you imagine getting something well, we'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, what makes this different from microblading is that with micro shading, they're depositing little dots, whereas with microblading, it's like hair-like strokes. So it's the dot versus the hair-like stroke. All right, so micro shading lasts anywhere from 1.5 to 3 years. And then you're typically gonna need another follow-up appointment 6 to 8 weeks after your initial appointment. Just check in with whoever you're going to see if that next appointment is already included in the price or if you gotta pay something extra. And then annual maintenance is needed to keep the color fresh. Now, as you might imagine, micro shading is a pretty penny. You know, it could be quite an investment, but for some people, it might be a worthwhile investment because it does last anywhere from 1.5 to 3 years. But on average, you can wind up paying anywhere from $300 to $800, maybe even a little bit more depending on who you go to, where you live, yada yada. And then the touch-ups, usually after a year, can range from anywhere from $100 to $300. Now, another brow procedure, which I recently got. Did you notice? I mean, I feel like it's more noticeable when I don't have makeup on, because when I first got them done, I was like, oh, I like this. But I'm like, this look a little strong when I don't have any makeup on. But it eventually fades and then it looks more natural. But anyway, nanoblading is a semi-permanent cosmetic tattoo technique for the eyebrows. Now, as you might hear in the name, nanoblading is similar to microblading, except, you know, nano means smaller. So it's similar to microblading, except it uses much smaller strokes. So the goal of nanoblading is to create hyper-realistic, natural-looking hairs, which I feel like, you know, bravo. All I did with these brows this morning is because my actual, like, I had a lot of brow hair before, so which is why it took me forever to be like, do I actually even need nanoblading, microblading, or whatever? I actually have a lot of brow hair, but you know, as we get a little older, sometimes, you know, the hairs be a little sparse. But even with it being a little sparse, I still had a lot of brow hair. But anyway, as this part is like growing out a little, I got it done maybe, I think we're on week 3 or maybe week 2, I don't know. I did have to take some clear brow gel and kind of like brush them up a little bit, but that's all I had to do. And I didn't even really have to do that because I could have just took my finger and went like this. So nanoblading lasts anywhere from 1 to 2.5 years. And of course, you know, depending on your skin, your lifestyle, you know, if you're somebody that's swimming a lot or you do a lot of heavy sports where you're sweating a lot, you know, that might affect how long your brows gonna last. And also with nanoblading, much like the micro shading, you do need an additional touch-up 6 to 8 weeks after your initial appointment. Make sure you check in with whoever does your brows. If that follow-up appointment is included in the price, well, you gotta come out your pocket for a little bit more. So nanoblading costs it's a little pricey up there, on average from $400 to $900, depending on who you go to, where you go. I paid $400 and I was so happy with the results that I also left an $80 tip, so I paid just under $500 for mine. And according to ChatGPT, on average, the touch-up sessions can be anywhere from $150 to $300. So those are some of the most common as of right now. Like, who knows, maybe next week or a month after this video comes out, there might be, you know, a couple new procedures on the market. But as of March 25th, it is what it is. Now, which brow treatment you get is going to depend on a number of factors. So like obviously with brow lamination, if you ain't got that many brow hairs to begin with, what you laminate, like I was trying to be real gentle with that one, but you know, like, friend, what you laminating, friend? But please, no matter which one you choose, please, please, please research the people that you are going to trust with your precious brows, because some of these treatments cost a lot more to get them removed than it is to get them put on. You know what I'm saying? Like, last thing you want to do is get nanoblading, microblading, micro shading, hate it. Now, mind you, you do need to give some of these treatments a little while for like the ink and the pigments to settle. Sometimes it might look a little darker at first, and then, you know, eventually it'll lighten to what the shade is supposed to look like. But if even after that you ain't feeling it, you gotta go get laser to get some of this stuff removed, and laser is not cheap. Now, while lasers have been available for darker skin for quite some time now, you need to make sure that you go to the right person who knows what they're doing with that laser. So you can't just have the right laser for darker skin. It gotta be the right laser and the right person together. Now, if you prefer a DIY situation, obviously there's things like brow pencils, brow liners, brow gel, brow powder, all sorts of things that you can pick up at your drugstore, Sephora, what have you, and you can go in and let have with your brows. There are also some brands like Revlon who make these brow pens that the ink lasts a couple of days, depending on your skin, your activities and whatnot. Like you might get a good 3 days out of a brow so you're not having to, do your brows all the time. And of course, they also have brow lamination kits that you can do at home as well. Let me know if you are doing any of these brow things in the comments, or if you're thinking about doing it and you have some questions, leave them in the comments, because we're a community here. We help each other out and we talk about these things. And let's move on to lashes. Now, they say the eyes are the windows to the soul, and having them perfectly framed with some nice brows and some nice lashes can make you look more pulled together without a stitch of makeup on. Now, I know we have seen our fair share of broomstick looking lashes in our time, right? And like, if that's your thing, I'm not gonna yoke your yum, but there's so many different options and styles out there when it comes to lashes, so let's talk about it. So first, we have the lash lift. You kind of think of it as like a perm for your brows, which is another reason why you gotta make sure that you thoroughly research who you go to. Basically, it's a semi-permanent treatment that curls and lifts the lashes from the base. So your natural lashes kind of get like an upgrade, like a curl and a lift. And this is with your natural lashes. So this is going to help your eyes look more open and your lashes look longer, again, without extensions. And it lasts anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, but it depends on the growth cycle of your lash hair. And the average cost is anywhere from $75 to $150. Obviously things will vary depending on who you go to and where you live. And sometimes they might combine it with tinting the lashes for, just for like a little extra drama. So with something like this, it can look like you have on some really great mascara without even having to pick up a tube. And then speaking of lash tint, you can also get that done separately on its own. So it's a semi-permanent dye that's applied to your natural lash to darken them and give them a more dramatic look. And that's gonna last anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks with an average cost of anywhere from $30 to $75. Obviously, prices range. I think I'm gonna stop saying prices range because I feel like you get it, But there's always that one person that be like, well, I paid. Then of course we have lash extension. So these are individual synthetic or mink lashes that are glued to your natural eyelashes for a fuller look that can be quite natural or it can be quite dramatic depending on what you like. And they last anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks before you'll need to refill, or you can get them removed or let them fall out naturally. Although the last time I had lash extensions and I let them fall out on their own, I was looking a little crazy because it was like one long lash here and one little lash here. Looked like I got in a fight with the wind or something. Now, another lash treatment that you can get are pro-grade lash growth treatments. So things like Latisse, which you can only get prescribed at a med spa, basically meaning there has to be someone, a doctor, that can be able to write the prescription for you. And again, of course, do your research, please. And of course, this is something that's going to help you grow your own lashes over time. Results take 4 to 8 weeks of consistent use, and a bottle can cost you about $100 to $150. This is usually about like a 3-month supply. However, you might also have to factor in the cost of, going in for the consultation or whatever the fee that the provider may charge. Now, not everything is for everybody, and I can't stress more than enough to do your research before you let anybody just be sticking stuff in your eyes, okay? Now, if you are like, look, it ain't worth the risk, I like seeing, I'm gonna need my eyes. There are several things you can do at home, which, you can still F around and find out, but, properly read the directions, make sure you know what you're doing. There are lash kits, like Kiss has the Falscara lash kit, where you can put on the individual lashes. They got all of these different designs and styles and whatnot. You can put that on. And then they also have I forget what it's called, but it's basically something that you put over the lash once you've put the lashes on that allow them to last anywhere from 10 to 14 days. So they last a little bit longer. I actually bought a kit from Ulta, but I have this thing where I buy things that I'm like, yes, I'm gonna do this. And then, it'd just be sitting in the box for a while, and then I wind up giving it away, but I will keep you posted should I remember to, put the lashes on. I also picked up some glueless lashes from Lilly Lashes. I saw these on TikTok and I was like, gotta have them. But again, I got them, they sent them, got them from the mailbox, they still in the packaging. I'll keep you posted, hopefully. Either if not here, then on Instagram. Most likely Instagram, because that way I can kind of just put the quick little short video here, or maybe even on YouTube Shorts. And if you're like, look, I ain't even trying to do all of that, it is amazing what can be done with the right flick of the wrist and a good mascara. Typically for me, when I look for it in a mascara, first of all, I usually like to get the drugstore mascaras. There are a couple of department store mascaras that I'm like, okay, that's worth the money. But for the most part, I like to do the drugstore. I look for, and it's gonna vary from everybody because our lashes are all different, but I like to look for something where the wand is a little skinnier and then it has like the little, I'm gonna call them spikes, but they're not spikes, but the little spikes on them that you can kind of get into every little angle, the inner corner, the outer corner, and then you can get yourself some volume. That kind of mascara wand, that's usually what I like. Or sometimes I like the ones where the wand is a little fat and the the mascara formula itself is a little thicker, and then that can give me some volume as well. Now, if you're gonna use mascara, also do this little trick. Like if you get a little bit like on your eyelid or underneath your eye, don't panic. Let that dry, and then you take a wet Q-tip, and then you're able to almost like an eraser, erase that off, and then you just take the dry end to wipe up the moisture. So number 3, glasses. Now I love makeup, but I certainly don't wear it every day. It's like today I'm going out to go shopping and I was like, you know what? Since I'm already gonna have hair and makeup done, let me film these videos beforehand so that I ain't gotta put makeup on twice. You gotta think smarter, not harder. Another trick to making your skin look 100 times better and to look more pulled together when you don't have any makeup on, girl, get you some glasses that frame your face very well. That's the key there. You gotta get some good stylish frames, but they have to work with your face shade. So I get almost 99.99% of my eyewear, my eyeglasses, my sunglasses, yada, 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 from Elegant Eyes Inc. I talk about them all the time. They're a Black family-owned optical boutique in New Jersey, but they also do virtual styling. So if you're not in Jersey, which I am not in Jersey, and I have done their virtual styling as well, I'll leave the information in the description box so you can hit them up. But it is amazing. A lot of times when I just want to jump on camera real quick and, I'm pretty confident about how my skin looks, but sometimes in certain lighting, like all of a sudden it's like it's casting a shadow, it's giving me discoloration that I actually don't have. Or if I need to hop on a call real quick and I'm like, child, I ain't trying to get all done up. I just throw some glasses on and boom, boom, boom. Now, if you need a little help picking out glasses that go well with your face shape, got you. Did y'all know I had a fashion channel on here and a lifestyle channel? I'm just over here working with 3 YouTube channels, busting it down. And shout out to those of you who not only follow Liz's channel, but my other channels as well. Like if you follow 1 channel, we cool. If you follow 2, you the homie. If you follow 3, mwah. So number 4, hair. Listen, having a signature cut or style or color is going to severely up the ante on your look, making your skin look 100 times better even without makeup. But I will add the caveat here that certain hair colors, especially if you do something very vibrant, like if you have like this bright red or bright orange, sometimes you do need some makeup to kind of balance that because the hair color is so dramatic that you need the makeup to kind of bring that balance back in. Now, friend, holding on to split ends or an unflattering cut can make you look not so fly, And I understand because sometimes you feel more comfortable when your hair is a certain length, and I ain't gotta be the one to tell you. Matter of fact, I'ma show you here where people got haircuts and the hair just it's shorter, but the hair looks 1,000 times better once it got that cut. It takes a lot, here and with your eyes and whatnot and in your heart. A little bit to kind of get over not having your hair be a certain length, but when it needs to be cut. And listen, I used to be the worst at this growing up and even probably into my 20s. I think what helped me one time is that I don't know what ate up my hair. Like if there was like a little gnome that came in my bed and was just like biting up, you know, my hair. But I had taken my hair out of a weave. Maybe it was a weave. I had taken my hair out of a weave. Oh, this has got to be like 15 years ago. And I was like, why I look like Cynthia, right? And I was getting ready to do a campaign for a hair brand. And I was like, now my hair looking like this. So me and my hairstylist both looked at each other and was like, well, let's just shave the side. And I shaved the side of my head and I didn't hate it. I mean, I immediately grew it back in, but I didn't hate it. And ever since then, I was like, if I could do that, I could do anything. So look at people who have similar face shapes and lifestyles as you do. You know, you can find a bunch of images on Pinterest. You can look things up on TikTok and, you know, have your database and then research stylists in your area that can execute that look for you. Because trust me, especially if you can find something that takes very little time for you to style. Oh, if you can spend less time styling your hair, the least amount of time you can spend styling your hair, the more time you get to enjoy life. Or even if it's something that takes some time to put in, but then after you have that, well, you know, we as Black women, we know about like the protective styles. And if you can find a hairstyle that doesn't take very long to style, even better, because there's nothing like just being like, all right, I'm ready. Trust me, because I get frustrated with having to do my hair. I just recently had a sew-in weave, and that was my first sew-in weave in a long time. And I was like, and the hair had some texture to it, so it's like if I wanted to, I could put a little water in it and just kind of go like this, put a scarf on if I didn't want to deal with my leave out, and I was good to go. So, and I keep having to come back so that you can see that I actually do have a shirt on, because there was sometimes when I was like up here and I was like, oh, it looks like I don't have any shirt on. Anyway, number 5, lips. So whether it is a loss of volume or lines on your lips due to aging or puffing the magic dragon, you might benefit from a lip treatment. And here are a couple. Now, I went down a lip blushing rabbit hole. That thing had me intrigued. Now, I'm not saying it's the only option, but I'm just kind of listing it here because people have done it. But again, this is one of those things where it's like, okay, that was nice information to have. Maybe not for me. And if it's something that you're looking into getting, please do your research and vet the person who is doing it. Okay. So lip blushing is a semi-permanent cosmetic tattoo that's going to add a natural flush to the color of your lips. It can help to correct uneven skin tone. It can help to define the lip borders, because, you know, sometimes people, you know, need a little, like that, some people don't have that, like, natural lip line. And it could also give the illusion of fuller lips. Now, it's supposed to heal to a soft, natural tint. This is what I'm saying. This looks like a great option, but please, I'm laughing because I'm just a laughy kind of person, but it's not funny. If you get jacked up when you get one of these treatments, please do your research, because the last thing you want is to have something that's like jarring and then it's gonna cost you even more money to try to correct it. Now, lip blushing can last anywhere from 2 to 3 years, and the cost can range, this is according to ChatGPT, anywhere from $400 to $900. Obviously, things are gonna, I just said I was gonna stop saying that disclaimer. Y'all should know by now. And then there's a touch-up, which you might need somewhere in between, and the touch-ups can range from $150 to $300. So there are also lip hydration treatments that, I don't know, I would say like just kind of schedule it as an add-on if you're gonna go for a facial, because to me, it's like, I mean, if the place is like right across the street from your house, you know, cool, just go and pop in and have a lip treatment and go take it behind home. But I feel like if you have to go far out, you might as well be, you know, do it as an add-on to a facial treatment. And I'm not quite sure if Sephora still does this as well, but Sephora used to have these, it's called a perk by Sephora or perk by something, but it's basically like, it's not a hydrofacial treatment. It's like a sneak peek. It's like a little snack of a hydrofacial kind of treatment, but they do offer them for the lips as well, or that they did at one point. But if Sephora no longer offers this, you can get a full lip hydrofacial treatment, you know, wherever you get a hydrofacial. Some people find that these help really well with, you know, the lines and maybe some discoloration. You're not gonna cure like two-tone lips with like a hydrofacial or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I find that the older I get, the more I love like my two-tone lips. Like my top lip is lighter than, my top lip is darker than my bottom lip. And I'm like, you know, whatever. You know, obviously, or if you're not trying to spend all the extra money, you can exfoliate your lips at home. You don't even have to buy a lip scrub. You could just get a wet toothbrush and massage it on your lips, put some Vaseline on, or, you know, if you want to get fancy, you can get fancy. And I'm loving that within the past couple of years, there have been so many amazing different lip oils and lip tints that just like give you like that extra like hint of color or some shine to the lips. I live with a lip oil on if I'm not wearing lipstick. Like I'm always gonna have a lip oil on because I like the shine that it gives, and it also keeps my lips conditioned. Now just keep in mind that some of these tinted lip oils may not show up on, you know, pigmented lips like they do on, you know, like you might see like, oh my gosh, that's such a pretty like bright pink or medium pink or whatever, and then you put it on and it looks clear. You know, sometimes the natural pigment of your lips does affect how that's gonna look. And unfortunately, if you want to get more color, that means you need something that's more pigmented, which is typically gonna be a little bit more opaque and fall more into the makeup category, which is cool, but I thought y'all said y'all ain't wanna wear makeup. Okay, so 6 skin enhances. Sometimes the glass skin is a result of a multi-step hydration routine, and sometimes the glass skin is a result of a luminizer. So there are skincare makeup hybrids that you can add to your skin to give it a more luminous look. So for example, you have things like the Glow Recipe Dewdrops, which also, in addition to the original, also come in bronze and rose gold, so you can put that on and have that luminous skin. Some other options include from Danessa Myricks. Oh, just love me some Danessa Myricks. The Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin line has a bunch of products that you can use on their own. Now, just because you find this in the makeup aisle doesn't mean that you can only wear it with makeup. These are things that you can put on your bare skin to give it a nice luminous look. So this is the Yummy Skin Glow Serum. So these are, this shade is Main Squeeze and this one is Juice Boost. So this is a golden and this is more of like a bronzy kind of color. There's also this pearlescent color, which is called Fresh Pressed. If you have a deeper skin tone, these two would probably be more up your ante. If you'd rather not with the serum, there's also products like this where, I'm trying to think what in skincare feels like this. This doesn't even feel like a moisturizer. You know, you could have like a really lightweight moisturizer. This doesn't even feel like a moisturizer. It's like it's a balm. There you go. It feels like a balm, and then you put it on the skin and then it dries to a finish so that you have like this nice luminous look to your skin. You can put it on the planes of the face, like maybe the tops of the cheekbones or like a little touch on the tip of the nose. You could also use these as a base for makeup if you wear makeup, but if you don't want to wear makeup, you can use this to have your skin glowing. You can also use makeup primers, and there are makeup primers that do a gazillion things for the skin. You can use them for the glow, but if you're someone where you're like, my skin does enough glowing on its own, I would like something a little bit more matte, you can use a mattifying primer, or you can just use a mattifying moisturizer or a mattifying sunscreen. And this is something that's going to, you know, it has the skincare qualities in it, but it's also helping to keep your skin looking matte. Now, I do realize by mentioning this next product that we are kind of veering more into makeup, but it is made by Glow Recipe, which is a skincare brand. You know, it's real funny how back in the day, makeup brands would come out with skincare, and now we've got skincare brands that are coming out with makeup. Like, it's like kind of cool to see. But anyway, they recently came out with the Dewy Flush. This beautiful woman here, I feel like I just be following her just to be like, what you gonna put on your skin today, girl? It's like when she does her makeup, when she's trying skincare, and it just looks so beautiful. And she kind of influenced me to not buy the product, but to check and see if like when my PR comes in, if they sent it to me so that I can wear it. But it looks absolutely beautiful on her. I wouldn't need to go and spend money to have that because I've got so many like liquid, you know, right now I have on a liquid blush from Rare Beauty, but this one, if you're someone who's not really a makeup person, but you want like a little something, that might be something to look into. And a quick little asterisk right here when it comes to some of these luminizers. Just keep in mind that a luminizer is going to draw more attention to areas of texture. So if you've got some areas where you're like, I'm not quite so sure, you might not want to put the luminizer directly on it because it'll wind up drawing more attention to it. There are some tricks that you can do where you can kind of trick the eye, like you can probably put something mattifying on top first and then put the luminizer, or kind of strategically place the luminizer where it's kind of like, don't look here, you know? Anyway, now number 7, teeth. Now this is not a quick cosmetic fix and it can wind up being quite costly, but you know, if you can go in in for a routine cleaning, even that alone can do wonders for how your face is looking, even when you don't have makeup on. And then obviously, if you have the budget for it, things like getting your teeth straightened with braces or Invisalign can go a long way. I got braces for the first time at 27. My issue was that I forget what it was. But basically, this part here was kind of sunken in. When I was a kid, they told me they would have to break my joint, but I was like, why would you tell a 5-year-old that? But anyway, I waited until I was 27, got braces. Braces ain't no joke, even if you get the ceramic colored ones. They ain't no joke, but it's worth it. And then I kind of stopped wearing my retainer, and then, you know, the teeth shifted, so I got Invisalign 2 years ago, and I have been wearing my Invisalign retainer at night, even though it dries the mess out of the inside of my mouth. But now, not everybody has the money for these things, but routine dental hygiene goes a long way. Making sure that you floss. If you need to get, you know, one of those special tools to kind of go in between, like those flosser things to kind of really get in there. Flossing can, oh my gosh, floss your teeth, okay? I ain't even gonna say no more, but floss your teeth. So number 8, and this is definitely not a small tweak. You might not even consider this a medium tweak. As a matter of fact, it might kind of be like an extra large tweak, and it's to look into facial balancing. Now, we talked about it in this video here. However, with facial balancing, it is very high maintenance, but it can lead you into a low maintenance lifestyle, because once you get it done, it can help by strategically, so what it is, it strategically places neuromodulators like Botox and then filler, you know, there's different types of filler, into your face so that it gives your face more structure, more balance. It's not for everybody. However, once you have that like really good balance and structure in your face, you just wake up and it's like, hey, how are you? I'm here, okay? Now, again, it's not for everybody, and it is quite costly, but you can check it out in this video here after you finish watching this video. Now, you might be like, all right, this all sounds good, Danielle, but what about one of skin's biggest haters, hyperpigmentation? And I'm telling you, hyperpigmentation, oh, it's a hater, but it's levels to the hateration. So the newer dark spots, say you get a pimple today and then it goes away and in 3 days you have a dark spot. That newer dark spot, you can easily walk into Walgreens, Sephora, Ulta, wherever, pick up a dark spot treatment, use it consistently with sunscreen, and that sucker be gone in 6 to 8 weeks. The older that spot gets though, the harder it is to get rid of that mess with something that you can just easily waltz into the store and buy. And we're talking all about that in this video here. Click on it and I will see you there.